Hey guys, welcome back to Bombchu. I'm Austin, and today I'll be looking at the Humble Monthly Bundle from August 2018. August is the month without any interesting holidays, sandwiched right between celebrating Independence Day in July and Labor Day in September. Hopefully we have some good games in this bundle to spice up the month. Let's dig in. This month's Humble Original is Woten, a 2D puzzle platformer with secrets galore. Controls are really simple. You can move, jump, and headbutt. Holding different directions when you headbutt makes it do different things, which all come in handy for solving puzzles. There's no tutorial or button prompts. The game teaches you through its level design just perfectly. As you move through, you'll collect fruit. Some fruit is hidden in secret walls. You'll also find interesting objects in tougher to reach spots, encouraging you to experiment with your moves and try to find a way up. At certain points, you'll need help from a friendly bat to get over cliffs, and he eats the fruit you've collected for energy. Collect enough extra fruit, and he'll be so energized that he'll take you to a secret area. If you've collected the right trinkets, you can learn the story about who you are and what you're doing here. For a while, I had no idea why I was collecting any of the stuff I was grabbing, but this felt really rewarding. The pixel art and chiptune music are well done and fit the gameplay perfectly. I had to tear myself away from this to get to the rest of the review, and I can't wait to play more. Pathologic Classic HD is an enhanced version of 2005's survival horror game Pathologic. You pick one of three characters, determining what story you'll follow. I chose the Bachelor, a doctor trying to save a town from a plague. In this game, you read. A lot. Half an hour in, I've spent 95% of my time in long conversations with NPCs. Someone got murdered, they want me to figure out who did it, but actually they're gonna find the murderer, and this thing knows this is a video game, and whoa! Look at these flowers! Time passes while you're running around, and you have to deal with hunger and exhaustion, adding to the survival aspect of the game. I tried to find something scary, but this looks like it's more of a slow burn kind of game, so not a lot has happened. I wanted to at least try out the combat, so I pulled out my fists and punched a guy on the street, and, well, just listen. Yeah, punching that guy made the sound of a baby crying. This is a strange one. It's got great reviews, but even the most helpful review on Steam points out that this is a really niche game, and you'll need to be taking notes and paying close attention to any hints given to you. This one's just not for me. The Surge is Dark Souls with robots. No, seriously. I know we're not supposed to describe games as being like Dark Souls, but straight up, these are really similar games. You have a health and stamina bar in the top left, you collect tech scrap instead of souls in the bottom right, which is used as currency and experience. You have med bays instead of bonfires, which serve as checkpoints, refill your healing items, and revive all the enemies. You lock on by pushing in right thumbstick, you swing slow and deliberately, you jump by running and pushing in the left stick, you find doors that can only be opened from the other side, which open up shortcuts, etc. It really doesn't try to hide that it's using Dark Souls as a base. There is at least one new thing though. You can target specific enemy body parts. If you want to do damage, it's good to target body parts that aren't armored. However, if you damage a specific limb enough and charge up enough energy, you can cut off that limb and get new weapons or other items. Also, single player only. That means no signs from other players, no invasions, and no jolly cooperation, which is unfortunate, as those are all a wonderful part of the Souls series. It doesn't have quite the same polish as Dark Souls, but it's decent fun so far. I'll be continuing. Sudden Strike 4 is a World War II RTS game. There's lots of those, so what makes this one stand out? To start, in each mission, the men and vehicles you start with are what you get. You won't be managing factories or barracks to build up your army. There's also directional damage, one example being that tanks take more damage from behind. The game is also fully playable with a controller, and it actually works really well. You can snap to a unit with right stick, move around the map with left stick, and perform your general actions with the face buttons. Create groups by pushing in the right stick, select a group with the D-pad. It feels really good. Doing specialized actions like sticking your head out of your tank to see further works by holding right trigger and selecting from a circular menu. I'm not into RTS games largely because I'm usually daunted by the interface, and also because I'm a horrible strategist, and here I only have to worry about being an idiot. Which I am, so I won't keep playing, but I'm still impressed. The next 3 games we'll be looking at I covered at the end of last month's review. I've significantly updated my review of the Escapists 2, but if you've already seen my look at A Hat in Time and Conan Exiles, you may want to skip ahead. I have timestamps for each game in the bundle in the description down below. The Escapists 2 is a 2D prison escape game, but this time around, it's got multiplayer. Your goal is to escape from a variety of prisons, with each prison having multiple ways out. You'll be searching for materials by scavenging or buying them off of other prisoners in order to craft useful contraband that will help you escape. Get caught with it on you, or have it in your desk when your room is searched, and it's taken away. Luckily, there's hidden space in your desk, but it's limited, so choose what you place there wisely. Along with managing your contraband, you have to show up for different events throughout the day. Fail to show up and security starts to get tighter. Or if you miss roll call, the prison goes on lockdown and your ass gets hauled off to solitary. Or you get shot and taken to medical. Co-op in this game is a blast. There are even escape methods that are only doable in multiplayer. This door, for example, requires someone to hold it open while another player slips through to open it from the other side for the first player. You can have each player working different jobs to get easy access to materials you might need, and it really helps lower the learning curve when everyone is discovering new things and telling each other about it. A big thanks to viewer MaryLou13 for helping me get some multiplayer footage and showing me the ropes. My time in multiplayer took this from a game that I might consider playing again to a game I will definitely play again. A Hat in Time is a collect-a-thon platformer inspired by the likes of Super Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie, and it f***ing rocks. Similar to Yooka-Laylee, this game started out on Kickstarter and looked to fill some similar shoes. Unlike Yooka-Laylee, this game completely stuck the landing, with an adorable world and characters, tight controls, and lots of fun variety in levels and missions. Your job is to track down your missing timepieces to power your ship back up. Along the way, you'll collect yarn and gems to make hats and badges, giving you new powers and augments. The platforming feels so damn good, and the levels are designed to show it off. You'll be doing everything from jumping your way to the end of a level, solving a murder on a train, or enjoying a parade in your honor. It's also still getting more content. More levels and co-op are being added in the future as free DLC, and it's got great mod support. This is a user-recreated version of Bob on Battlefield. If you have ever enjoyed a 3D platformer, absolutely go play this. It's such a joy. Conan Exiles is an open-world survival game set in the lore of Conan the Barbarian. My list of beefs with most open-world survival games include dealing with PvP with players who are already decked out, feeling like I'm always losing progress, wandering around aimlessly, and never finding most of what I need to keep my character fed, hydrated, and sheltered. Thankfully, you can choose to play online or offline, and when playing online, you can go PvP, PvE, or PvE Conflict, where there are only certain times where you fight other players. I chose PvE Conflict so I could try out fighting other players without having to worry about being griefed all the time. I created my character and whoops, that option just removes clothes. Let's just keep those on so I don't get demonetized. Boob slider? All the way up, of course, and crap, I did not realize how big that really was until now. I wake up in the desert and am instructed to find food, water, and a bed. I find a little pouch of water near where I started, and I found some of what I needed to make a bed, but for the life of me, I can't find the final ingredient or any food. I wander through for half an hour looking for anything, running into no players, enemies, or new materials. Finally, I find a small monster, and oh boy, that combat. Hitboxes are for losers, and response time is for weaklings, it seems. I discover I can cheese the combat by just kicking, assuming I can get my kick to land, and I loot my kill for nothing. It had no items. Another one notices me and chases me forever till I finally find a tent, and it kills me, making me drop all of my stuff and taking me back to the starting point. You can turn on easy mode to keep from dropping your stuff on death, but even with that, survival games are just not my thing. Reviews on Steam are mixed, with a lot of the negative reviews coming from people who say that they really love the game. Common complaints mention game-breaking bugs, a horrible decay timer for buildings, NPCs you train for your base doing nothing to defend themselves or the base, and the list goes on. My wife is hooked on this game, but your mileage may vary. Kona is a detective game with survival elements. Coming from Conan Exiles to this, you'd think I would hate this game, but surprisingly, I actually quite like it so far. You play as a detective in Quebec in 1970. On your way to a job, you get into a wreck and wake up injured, hungry, and freezing in the snow. This is normally where I would get annoyed because I can't find anything I need and have no idea where to go because I'm in a wide open wasteland. But here's where Kona shines for me. The items you need are nearby. You have to look for them, but if you're in need of something, it's fairly close by and you don't have to trek aimlessly looking for it. Warmth takes a while to go down, and you have plenty of time to find components to start fires. Standing by a fire also saves your game. At one point, I thought I had looked at everything in the focused area I was in, so I tried to walk down the road, and an invisible wall stopped me. I was supposed to fix up my car. In most other survival games, I would have been allowed to just walk, and I'd have been upset. Rather than randomly generated item placements, items are carefully placed, making fixing a generator or starting a fire more of a puzzle, rather than a task you have to do and hope you found and kept the materials you needed along the way. The game also has style. That title screen reminds me of a Tarantino movie, and when you inspect things, your thoughts are stylishly displayed. I really like this one so far. I plan to finish it. Forged Battalion is an early access RTS from the makers of Grey Goo. Similar to most RTS games, you manage building out your base and your army while gathering resources and scouting the map for your enemy's base. Where Forged Battalion differs is that each game you play earns you points that you can spend in your tech tree, which unlocks tech for you to use in future matches. You can use tech to customize your units, adding a great deal of variety to the way you approach matches. There's also some building combinations that unlock super weapons or something? All I could get on that was this less than descriptive page in the game manual. In the end, it's an RTS, and it's not for me, but fans of the genre might enjoy the unique faction building and unit customization. So overall, how was this bundle? This has been my favorite Humble Original in a long time. I'm seriously stoked to go play more of it. Some will enjoy Conan Exiles, but as the only AAA game here, it was kind of a rocky choice. 2 RTS games and 2 survival games kinda lowered the genre variety, but there was a solid number of games I hadn't heard of before like Kona, which I'm happy to have found. Let's look at the total value. Buying all these games at their lowest sale price would cost about $93, while getting them all at full price would be about $228. Pretty high dollar value going either way. There were 4 out of the 9 games here I didn't really care for this month, but I'm excited about the ones that I did like, and between that and the higher dollar value, I'd say this was a pretty good bundle. Next month's bundle has Sniper Elite 4, Tales of Berseria, and Staxel, or if you don't care for any of those, you can swap for Rise of the Tomb Raider. I covered that one in the October bundle last year, so if you want to know my thoughts, I have a link to that video in the description below. For now, let's take a sneak peek at the other 3. Sniper Elite 4 is a World War II third-person shooter with an emphasis on stealth and sniping. Your goal is to kill the bad guys and get out alive. You're equipped with a sniper rifle, but that makes quite a lot of noise, so if anyone hears your shots and lives, they get an idea of where you are. Keep shooting from the same location, and they can triangulate your position, so you can't keep using the same spots. You also have a knife for up-close stealth kills, and some close-range weapons if you get spotted and need to take out a small group of enemies. Whenever you get a cool kill, you get a dramatic slow-motion view of it. Very satisfying. It's polished and runs real smooth, and hey, it has co-op. I'll be trying the co-op out this month, and I'll update this section during next month's review. Next up is Tales of Berseria. Andron is a massive fan of the Tales series and has clocked in over 70 hours on Tales of Berseria, so here's his take on it.
Tales of Berseria is the latest in the popular JRPG Tales series. If you've never played a Tales game before, I have to say this title is a great entry point into the franchise. I purchased Tales of Berseria at launch as I'm a diehard fan, so when I saw it as part of the bundle, I knew I had to be the one to sing its praises. Tales of Berseria is the best example of what a modern JRPG should be. While games like Final Fantasy XV's marketing team promote their brotherhood and how close their characters are, Tales of Berseria proves how tight-knit their characters have become through little skits, interactions, and even callbacks from earlier conversations that all add up to make them feel even more alive. Unlike other JRPGs, Berseria isn't content with just providing generic archetypes without any depth. Take for instance the main character Velvet. While on the surface she appears to be just the regular buxom female protagonist, over my 63 hours with the game, she grew to be one of my favorite protagonists ever. Throughout the story, Velvet proves to man, woman, and demon alike she's a force to be feared. However, she's also strong enough to show deep, almost motherly compassion to her close friends that it's easy to forget she's not a real person. Every character shows just as much complexity and depth, which is extremely refreshing to see after 2015's Tales of Hysteria. If you're a fan of JRPGs who is in it for the story and the characters, you will not be disappointed. But let's talk about the fans that are more into combat. The Tales series combat has always been action-based and feels more like an action beat-em-up than a traditional RPG would. Tales of Berseria continues this trend with a more realized version of Hysteria's combat system. Early on, battles amount to just mashing buttons and blocking occasionally. Later in the game, the combat evolves to a point where everything is blowing up on screen, you're activating special moves left and right, and your party members are also doing crazy stuff all over the place. The combat controls do take a bit of getting used to, but once you understand the core mechanics, it's very rewarding. I can't express how fun it is to fight a boss and hit everything just right, then walk away with your party not getting a scratch. Having a combat system with enough depth to be able to do this is a major plus. The battle system's difficulty options also expand depending on how well you do in each mode. By playing in hard mode and winning a set number of battles, you unlock the next difficulty. You can do this again on the following difficulty, and I can't remember, but I think that's the highest. Difficulty is smartly scaled by increasing levels for the monsters, lowering experience gain for the player, but also adding more powerful loot for higher difficulty levels. So essentially, more risk, more reward. Outside of the story and combat is a rich, beautiful world full of activities like playing card games and other mini-games, so there's always something to do. All in all, Tales of Berseria is a very high-quality JRPG that made me fall in love with the franchise all over again. I highly recommend giving it a try.
Staxel is an early access farm game with Minecraft-style visuals. It plays much like Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley, but in 3D. You manage your farm, hoeing the land, planting seeds, and watering them till harvest. You have a pet that you feed. There's a town to buy things, get requests, and form relationships with your neighbors. Where it stands out is that rather than giving money and materials to an NPC and having them build up more buildings for you, you build them yourself, Minecraft style. You gather materials, craft them into what you need, and build. In a lot of spots, the game runs very smoothly, but there are some aspects that make it easy to tell that it's in early access. Controller support works great, except when you open your inventory, where you can't do anything except move to another tab. Other tabs work fine, fortunately, but your inventory is kind of important. You also oddly can't select exit game with the controller. You can only go to the option just before it. Buildings and terrain become more detailed as you get close to them, but in a not so subtle way. I also ran into a bug where I was trying to put some lumber on the saw table to make refined lumber, but it kept putting raw wood there instead, even though I had lumber selected. None of these were game killers, though I personally don't like to build in games, but my wife really enjoys it, and this game has co-op, so I'll be trying it out with her this month, and I'll update my thoughts in next month's review. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next month.